Marcus Aurelius said, "What we do in life echoes through eternity." What is your life echoing through eternity? Welcome to Echoes Through Eternity with Dr. Jeffrey Skinner. Our mission is to inspire, engage, and encourage leaders from across the globe to plant missional churches and be servant leaders. So join us and hear the stories of servant leaders reverberating lives as God echoes them through eternity. Brought to you by Missional Church Planting and Leadership Development and Dynamic Church Planting International.
Welcome into Echoes Through Eternity. I am your host, Dr. Jeffrey D. Skinner. What is God echoing through your life today? I have entitled this episode, What Happens When Creation Creates? Faith and AI. We built machines in our image. What does that say about God? You and I are living in a time when human imagination has finally outrun human wisdom. Artificial intelligence can write, paint, diagnose, predict, and even mimic emotion. But beneath all that code lies a question older than Genesis. What happens when creation begins to create? Every invention before this, fire, the wheel, electricity, changed how we lived. If you know me, you know I love polo shirts. Well, Men's Journal has rated Hypernatural the best men's polo shirts of 2024. Hypernatural offers polos, tees, and button-ups that deliver unmatched comfort and style, featuring hypercool jade technology for natural cooling. You can enjoy an exclusive 20% discount with my promo code Jeff at hypernaturalstyle.com. This one changes what it means to be. It blurs the lines between thought and imitation, soul and simulation. And we must ask, where does God fit into this story? Today, I want us to slow down, take a breath, and think spiritually, without fear, without hype, about what this moment reveals about us and about God. The image of God. Genesis 1:27 says, God created mankind in his own image. That verse means our creativity, our reasoning, even our desire to build reflect God's own nature. Humans create because we were first created. But being made in God's image doesn't give us the right to replace him. It calls us to reflect him. When we build, we echo that divine impulse towards order and beauty. But holiness restores the image. It doesn't compete with it. No machine, no algorithm can capture the breath of the Spirit. AI can compose a symphony, but it can't worship. It can describe love, but it can't feel it. It can explain truth, but it can't embody truth. Because love and truth are relational. They require presence. Presence requires soul. So when we marvel at machines that mirror our intelligence, we should remember every reflection shows both brilliance and brokenness. The question isn't what AI reveals about technology. It's what it reveals about us. Free will and control. Some of the smartest engineers warn, don't build superintelligence until you can control it. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? God created humanity knowing we could choose rebellion. Love without freedom isn't love, it's programming. Control may produce obedience, but never affection. From the beginning, God chose relationship over domination. Grace does not force, it invites. Truth does not crush, it redeems. When we create AI, we struggle with that same tension. We want progress, but we fear the loss of power. We want innovation, but we also want control. Humanity's deepest fear is not failure, it's being out of control. Yet the cross shows us a God who let go of control to demonstrate love. That is the difference between human power and divine power. God can redeem what he does not control. He invites what he could command. He invites what he could command. He loves what he could discard. Maybe our unease about AI is really about ourselves. We see in these machines a reflection of our own unpredictability, our ability to create good or evil. And still, God looked at his creation and said, "It is very good." That is grace. Truth meeting freedom with love. When creation forgets its creator. Romans 1:25 warns, they exchanged the truth about God for a lie and worshiped and served created things rather than the creator. Our technology often exposes our idols: speed, efficiency, self-importance. We believe innovation will save us, but salvation has never come from machines. It comes from mercy. The problem is not AI, it's the human heart forgets its source. When creation forgets the creator, creation turns against itself. Think about the Tower of Babel story. It wasn't architecture that offended heaven, it was arrogance. Let us make a name for ourselves, they said. That sentence still drives a lot of innovation today. What is an influencer but making a name for him or herself? AI is not a Tower of Babel, but it carries the same temptation. To reach for heaven on human terms, to pursue knowledge without humility. The moment we think we no longer need God, we stop being creative and we start being destructive. Fire was a gift until it was used for war. Code is a tool until it becomes an idol. Knowledge is beautiful until it outpaces its creator. So we have to ask not just can we, but should we? And why are we doing this at all? If our motives begin with self-glory, our creations will end in self-destruction. But if our work begins with gratitude and reverence, it can become an instrument of grace. Full disclosure, I use artificial intelligence in the creation of this podcast. I use it to produce it. I use it to help edit scripts. I use it to record. I use it to edit after the fact in recording the videos. I use it to spell check things. I don't use it to do the entire thing, but I do use it as a tool to help make it better. And I think that's a good use of artificial intelligence. Grace in the age of algorithms. So how do we live faithfully in a world where even machines learn? Snow was falling outside, just enough that the trees were dusty and to make the world quiet. Inside, the lights from the Christmas tree flickered across the room. Lisa was pouring cocoa into the mugs while I stirred the fire, watching it glow. Hayden and Blaine were home and stretched out on the couch in matching pajamas, laughing and sneaking extra marshmallows like little kids again. And for a moment, everything slowed down. No rushing, no deadlines, just peace. I remember thinking, this is what matters. Lisa had wanted this Christmas to feel different, less noise, more meaning. The kids were growing up, and we knew that time was fleeting with them. So she said, let's give something that feels like rest, and she found it in Cozy Earth. When everyone opened their gifts, the room got quiet in that good way. The bamboo sheet set wasn't just another present, it was a promise of calm. Lisa smiled and said, a silent night starts with the right sheets. We all laughed, but the truth hit home. Those sheets didn't just feel soft. They felt like peace. I opened the men's stretched knit bamboo pajama set, and Lisa got the women's long sleeve set. Hayden and Blaine slipped into theirs right after. Within minutes, we were all cozied up, half talking, half dozing by the fire. Blaine mumbled, best Christmas gift ever, right before falling asleep on the couch. He loved sleep. Lisa looked at me and whispered, this is what I wanted. She was right. It wasn't about the gifts. It was about the stillness they created. Cozy Earth somehow turned comfort into something sacred. Every Cozy Earth bedding product comes with a 100-night sleep trial and 10-year warranty. You can gift confidently, knowing it's a gift that lasts. Whether it's sheets, pajamas, or both, Cozy Earth transforms ordinary comfort into peace. Visit CozyEarth.com and use my exclusive 40% code, Jeff, to give the gift of luxury this holiday season. And if you happen to get a post-purchase survey, mention that you heard about Cozy Earth from Echoes Through Eternity, because the gifts aren't wrapped in paper, they're wrapped in warmth, peace, and love. Cozy Earth. Wrap the ones you love in luxury. First, anchor your identity in God, not technology. You are not a profile or a statistics. You are a person formed by divine hands. The data can measure your habits, but only God knows your heart. Second, let discernment, not fear, guide you. Fear makes us hide. Discernment calls us to shine. The goal is not to avoid artificial intelligence, but to use it redemptively. That's what I was talking about earlier when I said I use it in the creation of this podcast. Use it to share truth, to serve others, to speak hope into the digital noise. Again, that's what I'm doing here when I use artificial intelligence. Third, use new tools for a holy purpose. Let the light of Christ travel through screens and circuits. Tell stories that heal. Create spaces that restore human dignity. Every advance in human knowledge holds a spark of divine potential. But it's up to us whether that spark refines or consumes. We can choose to redeem what the world distorts. We can choose to reflect God's character in our creations instead of bowing to them. Holiness today means being set apart within the digital world, not removed from it. I remember in my own denomination when movies were first becoming a big thing, and our denomination stood against them. No, you shall not go to a movie. They made it like an 11th commandment out there. And so the pushback from the younger generation, myself, was, well, what if we just don't go to the bad movies, the R-rated movies? Well, you can't guarantee that money won't be used for something else. Well, then Coca-Cola became the owner of Columbia Pictures. And so, okay, you're not going to buy Cokes now? Okay, that's fine. Well, you're not going to buy orange juice either because Minute Maid is a Coca-Cola product. And so we get into trouble when we start trying to separate ourselves from the world as opposed to set ourselves apart in how we live in the world. We get into trouble that way. Jesus did not stay away from scary spaces. Jesus did not avoid sinful people. Jesus went into dangerous places and made them holy. He touched unclean people and they became clean. The same is true for us. When we're using the artificial intelligence, it means that we are shaping culture with integrity and mercy. It means our algorithms should never outrun our prayers. Our innovation should never exceed our humility. And our progress should never outshine our dependence on grace. Maybe the next revival won't start in a tent or a church, but in how believers use technology to honor the image of God in every person they reach. We built machines in our image, but God is still forming us in His. That's the real story. The question is not whether AI will surpass us. The question is whether we'll remember who we are. Will we keep chasing control, or will we choose communion? Will we measure ourselves by what we create or by how we love? The future won't belong to the most intelligent creation, but to the most surrendered, to those whose hearts still echo, "Make me more like you." Maybe the real test of creation isn't what we can make, but what we allow God to make of us. You've been listening to Echoes Through Eternity. If this episode spoke to you, share with someone who's wrestling with faith in the future. And remember, your story still echoes through eternity.